Before we get started, make sure you're wearing your headphones for maximum audio experience. Hello listeners, my name is El.
And my name is Sophia.
And welcome to Rhyme and Reason. In today's topic, we'll be talking about the health benefits of coffee and tea. Now, coffee and tea are two of the most famous drinks that people consume all over the world. Both beverages have different health benefits, but which one do you think is superior? Is coffee better than tea, or is tea better than coffee? Stick around and find out as we share a few facts about our favorite morning drinks. Before we get started on our listed down topics, what do you think is better, coffee or tea, in your personal taste?
I don't really drink coffee as much as I do with tea. I'd say for coffee in a year, I'd probably just drink about 2 or 3 cups of
Come on,
coffee.
that's just sad.
Compared to tea, which I have maybe like almost 4 times in a week. I don't really like coffee.
Oh, okay. Okay, but what kind of tea do you drink?
Currently we have moringa tea, which is malunggay tea. So it's from dried malunggay leaves that has been pulverized and mixed into with hot water, and that's what we drink.
Ooh.
But I love English breakfast tea, which I believe is black tea, and chamomile tea.
Oh, that one I like.
And ginger tea.
Ginger tea, well, that's one of my personal favorites because, well, I love drinking salabat, which is a almost kind of like tea. It's warm water with ginger and lemon. Sometimes we add it.
Yeah, it is tea.
Yeah.
I think it's herbal. It's herbal tea. We'll go into different types of tea, but it's herbal tea.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off by listing one of the facts that I read about coffee.
Before I forget, an important disclaimer: we are not health experts in any way, shape, or form. We did our own personal research, and we highly advise you to do the same. This is just based on our research, and we're not imposing anything.
Yeah, well, true.
Yeah.
Okay, so right off the bat, coffee can help make you smarter. I read this at an article, and it says coffee, well, this is common knowledge. Coffee contains a stimulant called caffeine, which is a common psychoactive substance in the world. After consumption, the caffeine is absorbed into the bloodstream and then travels to the brain. This releases neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, if I'm pronouncing that right, and dopamine, which leads to an enhanced firing of neurons. Coffee has shown improvement in brain functions including memory, mood, energy levels, vigilance, reaction times, and general mental function. So, in short, coffee kind of kickstarts your brain if you drink it every morning, but it does have a downside to it. If you drink too much coffee, the effects usually just degrade. And if you get to the point where you just drink it like water, almost kind of like I did when I was back the years working, I used to drink 5 cups a day of coffee.
Wow.
Because
what is the recommended amount of caffeine that you can intake in a day?
Well, I think that would depend on your health issues, because I know some people have diabetes and they drink coffee with a lot of sugar, which is very wrong. It depends on the person's taste buds on how much they would like to drink coffee. I'm kind of prone to diabetes because it's in the family bloodline. So as much as possible, I try to drink just 1 or 2 cups a day of regular black brewed coffee. What's your first topic on tea?
After some reading, I didn't know that there's one type of common tea, which is green tea, and it comes from the Camellia sinensis plant. Green tea, black tea, and oolong tea are from the same plant, but they differ in the way that they're prepared. And also they have specific benefits to them. Green tea, black tea, and oolong tea are the most popular kinds of tea that originates from China. By the way, this article that I'm referencing from is from the University of Pennsylvania Medicine, and they published this article, I believe, in 2016. I might have to double check that.
Yeah.
But studies have shown that green tea has a lot of flavonoids that can help boost heart health by lowering bad cholesterol and reducing blood clotting. And several studies have also shown that this type of tea can help lower blood pressure and total cholesterol. And then it basically has an overall impact in the liver and the breast, prostate, and colorectal cancers. Have you heard of skincare products that have green tea in the label? Like, have you heard of those?
Actually, I've been looking into those. I think I've seen some at Watson's.
Yeah.
Mom looks into those products sometimes, and I don't really know what the tea does to the skin. Do you?
Okay, so research has shown that this type of tea, green tea specifically, has anti-inflammatory properties, and these help keep your skin clear and glowing. I kind of already knew about green tea and its properties, but for me, I thought it was like just a gimmick, just for companies to say, oh, this is more natural and more organic, and green tea has blah blah blah. And this article actually kind of removed the doubts. And that's just some of the benefits of tea. Obviously, I feel like for both tea and coffee and every beverage really, the key thing here is to drink it in moderation. I've also read articles that disprove the benefits, because some people believe in the myth that the more you drink tea, the healthier you will become. And there's also like limits to that, because you can also overdo drinking tea or coffee sometimes.
But
yeah, and that could lead to bad effects.
Yeah, but does it matter if you drink a certain type of tea, or does it just specify to drinking too much of one tea? Example, if you drink tea every day, but you drink different varieties of tea, does that still count on the if you drink too much, if the effects degrade?
What's really cool about tea, different kinds of tea, is there's herbal tea, there's green tea, as I mentioned, that comes from like a single plant. For herbal tea, it's kind of an infusion of different types, so it can be herbs, spices, flowers, dried fruits, seeds, etc. And usually herbal teas commonly aren't caffeinated compared to green tea. I found this article from Harvard, and they said that observational research has found that tea consumption of 2 to 3 cups daily is associated with reduced risk of premature death, heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. But there is a downside to it, because they say that there may be an increased risk of esophageal and stomach cancers from drinking tea that is too hot. I didn't expect that you could have health problems just because you're drinking something that's too hot, apparently. So in general, tea is beneficial, but in terms of how you consume the tea, that's where it kind of is dicey sometimes, because apparently, like from this research article that I saw, around 100 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit is considered too hot. So yeah, although milk tea is still tea, like how other people justify drinking coffee like drinking water because you make coffee with water.
Yeah.
And so people, excuse drinking coffee or tea with drinking water, especially with the rage of milk tea. I feel like it became super, super popular, right?
Well, it did, yeah.
You know, milk tea has become this kind of social status thing. An article actually said that there are teas that you should avoid. For example, going back to the University of Pennsylvania article on tea, detox teas are for fad diets. Sometimes they oversell the detox teas, promising you like you'll lose this amount of fat in this amount of days if you drink like their tea. And a lot of it isn't really proven, and sometimes these teas come with laxatives, which can be very, very dangerous to your health. And then there's milk teas and tea drinks. Although they do contain tea, some have high amounts of sugar in them, plus different add-ins like pearls, etc. And those also are additional sugars. So it's kind of like you eat an apple, but then you put that apple into an apple pie, and that becomes unhealthier compared to just eating an apple, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, so going completely off topic here, we have too many milk tea shops here near home, and every time I walk by or drive by those stores, there are always long lines on them, which are usually, these days, are Grab drivers. For me personally, I do not like the taste of milk tea.
I don't also.
Okay, that's good. It's too sweet for me, even if they do not add the sugar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It tastes so weird, and it's like, for me, it's such a waste of good tea when they turn it into milk tea, you know.
For me, I just can't justify spending, I mean, not to downgrade anyone who enjoys milk tea, but I just can't justify spending that amount of money on milk tea. Especially for me, like, I don't like spending money in general, so spending 120 or even like 200 pesos on like one tall glass of milk tea. I've experienced that, like someone bought milk tea and kind of shared it with us.
Mm-hmm.
And even finishing that tall glass, I felt like no human can like straight up down the whole glass because you'll feel so sick afterwards.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. My friends order these, they usually order the biggest size.
Yeah, I don't get that. Because by the time, okay, let's say you're drinking the milk tea, there's like a ton of ice in it. And by the time you're drinking about half of it, the ice has already melted. And so you're left with this kind of very diluted tasting milk tea. Like, I really don't get it. I'm sorry.
My friends bought me my first milk tea around December of 2018. They bought me this medium-sized Happy Tea, I think is the name of the store. And the first sip I took from that, I'll be honest, I almost gagged because I did not like the taste of it, and it was so sweet. And I did.
What was the flavor of it?
Winter melon, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it's I didn't want to be rude to my friends, and if they're listening now, I'm sorry. But I finished it because I did not want to be rude, because they bought it for me and they didn't pay for it, so I had to finish it, of course. But I hated it. I really hated it.
The one thing I like about milk teas is the pearls.
Yeah.
Like, I that's one thing that I can stand is the pearls. But everything else, I can't justify spending that much.
Okay, going back to our topic. Coffee helps you burn fat. Studies have shown that fat-burning supplements contain a lot of caffeine, and it is one of the most natural substances that is proven to aid fat burning. Caffeine can help you boost your metabolism rate by 11%. However, it may diminish its effect for long-term coffee drinkers. As Sophia mentioned earlier about the tea, if you drink too much, it kind of degrades the effects. Same goes with coffee and the effect of the caffeine in it. I have friends who never tasted coffee before, and they said they always go for tea because they believe in commercials that tea helps them burn fat.
Oh, okay.
But they've been drinking it for around a year. Although they've showed some progress because they paired it with proper exercise, I kind of invited coffee into their lives when one of our get-togethers. So ever since I introduced coffee to them, they fell in love with the taste of coffee. Although they do go for cappuccino, which is a good drink to start off with when you try coffee, because it's not too bitter, it's not too sweet. Ever since they replaced their tea with coffee, they have shown a significant change. They've been doing the same exercise routines, but they just exchanged their tea with coffee.
It's actually really cool. I haven't heard like a testimony about coffee and like losing weight with coffee.
Because I think it depends on how much you drink it and what you pair the coffee with. You know, if you pair it with exercise and a proper diet and all that, it is going to show more significant change. Coffee also improves physical performance. Caffeine stimulates your nervous system. It also increases epinephrine or adrenaline levels in your blood. Therefore, having coffee 30 minutes before a workout actually makes sense, especially when it's a very strong cup of coffee. It can enhance your performance by up to 10% because it wakes up the brain, it energizes the whole body. And I haven't tried this, if I'm being honest. I always work out before I drink coffee. I wake up around 5 and then I go work out 5:45. I haven't tried drinking coffee before exercising because I feel like if I drink coffee before I exercise, I might consume all of the adrenaline that I need to go through my day, because as much as possible I try to limit myself to only having 1 cup of coffee a day, because if I have 2 or 3, my heart usually palpitates and it's painful for me if I have too much coffee.
I haven't really tried, but I've heard that pre-workout has a ton of caffeine in it. That's what they drink before exercising. So I think maybe you could try like one time and switch your routine to see if it actually works.
Actually, I do want to try it. Maybe sometime this week I might, but we'll see.
This is kind of like a testimony about drinking tea and the benefits. So as I've mentioned, the tea that's available in our house right now is the moringa tea or malunggay tea. And we have like a malunggay plant outside our house. So what my dad does is he harvests like a couple of branches and then he hangs it in our kitchen to air dry for maybe around 1 to 2 weeks, and then after that he removes it from the stems and then pulverizes it. And so we use like probably around a half a teaspoon of it, and then we pour it with boiling water to let it kind of infuse the water, and that's what we drink. I mean, I just had my tea a while ago.
Actually, that's interesting.
That's what we drank. We don't add anything else. Like we don't add milk or sugar or anything. It's just boiled water and tea. If my dad roasts because sometimes he roasts the leaves before he pulverizes it, but sometimes he doesn't. But when he does roast it, it does taste kind of like coffee.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of does. And then I have an older sister, and she would have very terrible period cramps. Like, it would really kind of let her be immobile all day. She'd just lie down because of the pain, and it would happen very frequently, and it would last for almost the whole day. So recently, just last year, my dad recommended her to try drinking the tea to relieve some of the pain, and it actually did help. So whenever we have period cramps, it does help. Since the tea is warm, it feels good in the stomach, and also malunggay itself has so many benefits.
Does.
So especially now that we're in our 20s, it's important to be mindful of like what we intake, because we used to hear like adults talk about this every time, like you'll regret it when you're older and stuff, because the bad effects of kind of what we do now will really show when we're older. And so it just kind of dawned on me that you should do yourself a favor and kind of take care of yourself now while you still can, so that you'll still be healthy and active and going once you're older.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Out of context, I think we have 4 malunggay trees here in our home. We have 2 out front and 2 in the back. We haven't tried making tea because not many of us drink tea at home. I think Lola drinks tea often.
Yeah, it's usually old people. Like, even before I tried... Oh, sorry to interrupt, but even before I tried tea, I was very skeptical because I associated drinking tea for old people. And because, like, my very first impression of tea, like, it smelled very weird. It tasted like grass.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of watered down juice, and I didn't really understand why they drink it. But now, since reading the benefits and all that, and even my parents also encourage us to drink tea, it also encourages me to not shy away from drinking tea, even though, I mean, it's tested and proven by old people. You can ask your grandma.
Well, actually, as long as you're, young and you can still have the opportunity to try new things. For example, tea, like the malunggay tea, I might want to try that. Mm-hmm. You should do your best to try new things when you get the opportunity to, because it's very rare these days to find those types of opportunities, especially now during lockdowns. If you can try different food while you're at home, experiment while you're at home, but I'm not saying take every leaf outside and try to turn it into a tea, but
don't do that.
Ask your parents or grandparents about the types of tea or coffee that they love trying as a kid, because it usually starts there, that you love the taste of coffee or tea.
And even if you don't really love the taste, just remember that your body will thank you later. Because it does have so many benefits, and usually the things that are good for you don't really taste that good.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, so the last topic on my list is coffee lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes, as mentioned earlier with the tea. So teas do the same. It's proven that coffee drinkers have a significantly reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. People who drink the most coffee have 23 to 50% lower risk of getting type 2 diabetes. And some studies showed that it reduced it as high as 67%. This still varies on the type of coffee that you would drink. As I mentioned earlier, I drink black coffee. Although I didn't really start off as drinking black coffee, I started drinking cappuccino as my first cup of coffee a few years ago. And from there, I ventured off to the wide variety of brews, especially fraps, because when we're kids or young teenagers, we have this urge to have sweets. So, fraps. Before I found out I was prone to diabetes, I loved fraps. I usually drink frap almost every other day. I would go to Starbucks
Wow.
and try different types of fraps and to familiarize myself with the whole menu that Starbucks and other cafes offered. This was actually the source of my hyperness. I'm always hyper when I was a kid because of all the sugar that frap has. But after I found out that I was kind of prone to diabetes because my lolo, he died because he had a severe case of diabetes, and now my dad also has diabetes and he's doing his best to control it. I decided to veer towards black coffee or brewed coffee because I wanted to lower my blood sugar levels as much as possible. So I control my sugar intake by drinking black coffee and just until I develop a taste for it. Now I have black coffee every morning, and it's actually my to-go drink when I need energy or when I need to calm down from stress. What's fun about having coffee is the smell of grinding the beans and just in general the smell. It's so
Coffee does smell good.
it's so therapeutic.
It really
to be honest.
does.
You take a whiff of that freshly brewed coffee in the morning and you already feel energized or you feel happy.
I know I said I don't drink coffee, but when I do drink black coffee. But like watered down black coffee, because the straight up like black coffee is too bitter for me. So I just add more water than usual. But that's what I drink.
Black coffee does have different taste or brews. There are
Yeah.
some.
I recently learned about that. I didn't know that.
Look, okay. The most common black coffee that's found in almost every household is the Nescafe. That's pure. The instant coffee, which is kind of okay, but once you taste different varieties of it, it just suddenly tastes boring. There are brews that are light roasted, medium roasted, and dark roasted. And some have these citrusy flavor, and some also have, it's like you taste the seasons,
Interesting. I did taste a jade blend of coffee before, and I drank like just the straight black coffee, and it tasted like, one of those kind of, I think, Chinese candies. It's kind of like ginger candies. I can't describe what it tastes like, but around that, like, it kind of tastes like ginger. What does jade even mean?
I have no
Jade
idea.
blend. Yeah. But it says that it's jade blend, and when I tasted it, it tasted like tea. So that's why I really like drinking just the black coffee
You
of the jade blend. Because it reminded me of tea. Yeah. Have you ever experienced having, because you mentioned you drink a lot of coffee prior to when you switched to just drinking 1 cup a day. Have you experienced like having caffeine withdrawals? Like, is that like a real thing that people go through?
Actually, I have, yeah. When I work, like I mentioned in the previous episode, is I used to work for 16 hours a day, sometimes more, and it would require me to drink a lot of coffee, so I have a lot of energy to burn. Sometimes on my day offs, where I try to not drink a single cup of coffee, it would usually hurt. I would feel this sort of heartburn because the heart is looking for caffeine that it's used to consuming every day. So there are some cases of caffeine withdrawal where you condition your body to consume so much caffeine in a day. I do not recommend drinking more than 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day. So what do you think? Do you think coffee is kind of superior to tea, or do you think tea is superior to coffee?
The points that you gave about coffee are really persuasive, but I'm biased towards tea. I'm just more used to the taste of it. I mean, I don't know. If I were to choose like if someone were to ask me what drink would I get, I'd probably most likely still pick tea. But if someone would offer me like just coffee, I would still accept, I guess. But I would be really picky about how it tastes, or like how it's blended together, like the cream or the sugar and stuff. If someone else were to make it, yeah.
Yeah, I never asked anybody else to make my coffee. Unless it's from, coffee shops.
Mm-hmm. But how about you? Do you think coffee is more beneficial than tea?
I think coffee is, in many ways, a lot more beneficial. But in my case, it doesn't feel like it does anything anymore because, I've already had too much coffee. I think I'm going to stick with coffee still. Although tea does have better effects when you are feeling ill, because it does help you recover faster. I'm still going to stick with coffee as the one with most health benefits.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments section. Do you think coffee is more beneficial than tea, or is tea more beneficial than coffee? Thank you for listening to Rhyme and Reason Podcast. If you liked that episode, please hit that like and that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below to let us know what you think about the episode. Follow us on Twitter by clicking the link on the description. See you guys next time.